All right, Chapter 2 study guide. If we look numbers 1 and 2, remember on the 2.1 notes, there were two ways that we learned how to figure out the federal income taxes that are being withheld. The first one was the table method. Numbers 1 and 2, that's what it's asking for. It's asking us to use the table method. So to use that chart in the back of the book. If you need help with that, you can look in the 2.1 notes where I actually have a copy of the chart on the page and it shows you how to read it. But just in case you're checking your answers, number 1 should be $20 withheld a week. And then in number 2, it should be $2. Now, let's take a look at number 3. 3 and 4 are very similar, so we're going to just work on number 3 together. And in number 3, we're using the percentage method where we need this table. Remember, in 3 and 4, we need to do the 3 steps. The first step that we need to do is find the allowance amount. And the allowance amount, you'll remember, is we take the number of allowances and then we multiply that by the amount per allowance, which you can see is listed right here, 63.46. So for this particular problem, what we've got is, it says number 3, he is single and claims 2 allowances. So if he's claiming 2 allowances, it will be 2 times 63.46, and that will multiply out to be $126.92. So that's our very first step. That was part A. Now what we can do is we can find the amount of taxable earnings. So the taxable earnings, you'll remember, that is our gross pay. And then we subtract from that our allowance amount. Another term for that would be the deductions. So for this one, our gross pay would be, it says Mitch made $425.78. That's the gross pay. And then we subtract the allowance amount, which we found right there. So bring that down, which is $126.92. So the difference there is our taxable earnings, which is $298.86. So steps A and B we have to do before we can do step C. For step C, remember, we need to use the table. So I'm going to kind of draw a little line around this so we don't get this kind of running together. And let's look at step C here. So for C, we use the table to find the tax amount. And you'll see that the amount of the income tax withheld is a certain dollar amount plus a percentage amount. And the way we determine which of these rows that we use is we are going to find our taxable earnings. So in this case, our taxable earnings are $298.86. $298.86 would put us in the second column here. So this is the information that we use to find the amount of the taxes. So it says here that we are going to pay $14.40 plus 15%, written as a decimal, so 0.15, times the taxable wages, taxable earnings, $298.86 minus 195, and we got that 195 because it's the over amount right there. So in minus 195. So I'm going to subtract those two out, multiply that by 0.15. So we're going to do order of operations. We have to do the parentheses first. So that would leave us with $103.86. When I subtract $298.86 and I subtract $195 from that, I'm going to multiply that times 0.15. So I have 1440 plus, and when I multiply that out, it gives me 1558. Add those together, and I get $29.98. So my final answer, the answer that I need here, is the amount of taxes withheld using the percentage method, $29.98.